Yeah, but my dreams never were
that vivid. Or?
that not vivid, but like that. Like you kind of related it to. Like my dreams are always never really about real life. Something that people are there, but what we're doing is never real life. I never relate anything to real life. So just seeing my sister and like not being able to interact with her the way I want to interact with her is just it was just kind of like it's devastating. And like I think just the consistency and like constantly having these dreams is just something that's set with me, and it's just bothered me. So, but yeah,
it sounds. But it's kind of better now, or
it's gotten better.
Yeah.
Than original, but 1 or 2 days. I mean, it'll pop up, and I just like I realized it was a dream, and I realized I can't do anything about it, and
and that's the kind of thing where like we can't put any kind. We can't. A lot of these things, it's like you feel naturally inclined to want to put some kind of happy little ribbon on the end of that thought, like,
yeah.
But at least I'm getting better, but in this case, it's just like, this is what it is. And there you go. Like
this is my life now.
Yeah.
Like I'll probably continue to have dreams about her, and
yeah,
that's going to be something that I just have to handle, not get over.
Yeah.
So.
You better settle down there, Master. Aqua, I'll handle him.
No, I'm ending this.
But you haven't recovered yet.
Sorry, but you've seen me too weak, too often. Now it's my turn to shine.
Aqua!
Okay.
Give it up. Destroy. Take this. Give it up. Destroy. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Stay there.
Nope. Destroy. Give it up. Take this. You wish! Nope! Give it up! Give it up! Let you have this one. Aqua!
I have to wake up.
Yes. Tell me what to do.
The power of waking.
I can't. I still don't have it yet.
You never lost it. It sleeps. Until someone needs it. Call to it.
I am calling. With all my heart.
Thank you for always keeping me safe, Sora.
Three guardians is more than I care to face. But now that my brother is awake, I'm just certain that he'll come to visit. Aqua, are you alright?
Yes, I'm fine, Sora.
Huh? You're Sora?
Yep. Hey, Ventus.
I get it. You were my second chance.
Huh?
Call me Ven.
Good morning, Ven.
Good morning, Aqua.
Wow.
At last we are all assembled. First, Sora, Riku, Donald, Goofy, Mickey. I cannot thank you enough for what you have done. And you, Aqua and Ventus. We are fortunate to have you back.
Thanks. I only wish we could have returned to help sooner. We're grateful to all of you for rescuing us.
Thank you.
I feel bad for letting you guys down. We tried, but we still haven't found Terra.
Don't. He studied with Master Ericus, just like us. He's our responsibility.
Mickey told me that you saved me in the realm of darkness. I should have gone to help you right away, but I was too inexperienced. I'm sorry. I know that I let you down.
No, just the opposite.
Did you know Riku's a true Keyblade master now?
That's wonderful. Good for you.
But Sora needs work. Yeah, rub it in.
I'm happy to see that you haven't changed one bit.
Huh?
Sora, you probably don't remember. It's okay.
Ah, yes. Let us not forget our new Keyblade wielders. Lee, Kairi, you have made tremendous strides.
Hey there. And that's future Keyblade Master.
Kairi. Incredible. It is you.
Huh? You know her?
When you and I first met in Radiant Garden, the Unversed tried to attack a little girl. Do you remember?
Oh gosh, that little girl was Kairi?
I guess it must have worked. The spell that I cast on you.
I'm sorry. Those days are hazy for me. But it sounds like I'd have been in trouble without you. So thank you.
Please. You were really very little. Anyone would forget, hazy memory or not.
This is all very touching, guys, but where do I fit in? Ven looks just like Roxas. Or is it Roxas looks just like Ven? And now I have to explain all of that to him, which is in itself a crazy long story. And apparently everybody already knows everyone, and this is an insane amount to get memorized.
Sorry, Lee.
You remember me?
Yeah, of course. We're friends. I can't believe you became a Keyblade wielder just like me.
Yeah.
Axel, you know Ven?
Axel? Who's Axel?
See? Major brainache. Huh? Now who?
Not to worry, folks. To help us out, I've given each of you a gummy phone. They've got summaries of everything that's happened so far. That way, you can read up, if you'd like. And if anyone has any questions, we can call each other.
That's proximity! He's always prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got our 7 guardians.
Yeah. But I do wish that Roxas and Naminé and Terra could be here with us too.
Since when do you mope, Sora? Come on. Terra's gotta be with the organization, which means we'll have a chance to save him.
Leave it to Ven and I. We'll bring him home.
Yeah. I made Terra a promise. I said I'd be there for him when he needs me.
And I'll figure Roxas out. Don't know how, but I'll get him back.
Naminé is right here safe with me. I know that we'll find a way to help her. Trust me. I'm not giving up.
Kairi's right. We're all in this together, Sora.
And Donald and I are no Keyblade wielders, but we'll always be right there to help keep you steady. We got your back, not just now, but always.
That again.
It's a shame that all of our friends could not be here. But our 7 Guardians of Light have united. Perhaps you might say that we have 9 Guardians with Donald and Goofy. Given time, I know the others will soon stand with us.
Yeah.
Today you recuperate. On the morrow, you journey to the fated place.
Oh, yeah!
The stars here are so beautiful. I noticed it when we arrived.
Yes?
We've gone without this for so long.
I know.
I remember dreaming a lot. Of you and Terra. Of Sora and his friends too, I think. And there were some more people I didn't recognize. Oh, and I saw these weird animal creatures.
Dream
like
eaters.
I've been part of some big adventure.
I've been places too. But pretty soon, things will be back to normal.
Let's share stories when Terra's back.
Yeah.
I've had it with this stupid treasure hunt. Every box we've found's been nothing but a bust.
I agree. Our search ends today.
What, huh, now?
You cannot find the unfindable. The box does not exist.
I knew they was taking us for a ride.
Silence, imbecile. I mean the box does not exist now.
Was that some kind of riddle? Just where are we supposed to be looking?
Light and darkness are fated to clash. A Keyblade war is upon us. We need only wait for that destined moment. No matter the victors, the box will be revealed.
That's it? But when's my big moment?
You will have it soon enough. Once I possess the box, our real work can begin.
Oh.
Well, Roxas, I should have been there for you by now, but here we are.
Shouldn't you say goodbye to your real home?
Why?
I'm not here to fight. Relax.
Hey!
You can't eat all this. Why did you buy 3 of them? 1 for Roxas? And 2 for good luck?
I don't know. Because I felt like it, okay? Why are you here?
Got it memorized? Back when we were still friends, we used to sneak into the castle.
Yeah.
And we made a friend there, a girl. We apprenticed to Ansem the Wise to rescue her.
Yeah, and we failed. One day she was just gone.
You gave up.
I did not give up. One day we're apprentices. The next, Ansem the Wise is up and vanished. The day after, we're nobodies. Day after that, we're doing icky jobs for Xemnas. I couldn't keep up with you.
Following Xehanort's nobody was the only way to discover what happened to her. She was his lab rat.
So, you found her? I helped you rise up the ranks, so I hope it paid off.
I'm afraid not. Nary a trace. I started to wonder if we'd imagined her. Maybe she never existed. And then, in time, I awakened to a new purpose. I realized I could be stronger.
Well then, you blew it. Wise up already and just quit.
Face it, Roxas is just like our other friend. Gone forever. You need to accept that.
You wish. I'm getting her back. All of them. Especially Roxas. I'm even dragging you home.
The marks under your eyes, they're gone.
Yeah, don't need them.
Always told you they'd stop you from crying. The upside-down tears.
Would you get lost? I'll clobber you tomorrow.
I expect no less.
How long have you known that I was with you? You did save me. I think you came along for a reason. I didn't make much of myself as a replica. I was a failure, and after you and Sora moved on, my body fell to ruin and the darkness took my broken mind. I was all ready to give up and let it happen. And then you showed up. You took that as a sign? Maybe. I'd rather face my end with you than in darkness. That's what you want? Yeah. But I'm not done yet. Got one last thing to see through. Take the time you need.
Hey, why is Riku all alone?
He said he needed time to himself. Let's let him be. Here.
What? Huh?
Ugh, this music.
Oh.
Tomorrow's fight will be our toughest yet. I want to be a part of your life no matter what. That's all.
Kairi, I'll keep you safe.
Let me keep you safe.
Look at all that new space to explore!
It's just like the culmination of all this from the first game I played when I was 14. Wish my brother could see it. Oh, no. There's an adorable child who's teetering on the edge of our setup here, really curious about us two foreigners. If she shows up in the video, I'm gonna have to do some extra editing. I can't. Oh, here she goes. Okay, here we go. So far so good. Okay, all right. Bye bye.
Bye bye. No. Okay. Here she goes.
What a delightful way to start this off. Okay. Okay. Welcome everybody. I'm Jordan. You know. Okay. So who are you? What are you doing here?
Hi, I'm Riane.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so Riane and I are both English teachers in the same program in South Korea. Ryan's about to not be anymore. Riane and I have a bunch of stuff in common. We,
shared the same dorm number.
Yeah, so she came here about 6 months after I did. She lived into the room that I moved out of. She moved into the room that I moved out of.
Yeah.
And she's got a dad, I've got a dad.
I do have a dad.
Yeah.
I also have a mom.
I took that, too. My friend Eden, if you're watching this, you're probably not, but I took that joke from you, thank you. Okay, yeah, we both got moms. We went to Japan together with my co-teacher.
Hey.
Hey, Ryan.
Hi.
Okay.
Hey, Jordan.
Hey.
Oh, did I change it?
Now up and down instead of...
Do it again.
Hello. Hold on. Wow. Okay. So here you go. Here you go.
Are you recording?
No! You changed
Are you recording?
Yes. Okay, it's okay, it's okay. This is funny. Just hold it like this.
Oh, like this? And?
Hello.
Who are you?
I'm Jordan.
Good
Who
name.
are you?
You know, you could have just hit like the flip button.
And you.
Who are you?
I'm Ryan.
Well, together we are
The Three Musketeers?
3 people who went to Japan and took video in kimonos. I taught at her school, so we both worked with the same co-teacher. Me, it was for like a week.
Now we have the same coordinator position?
Oh yeah, we're coordinators. Yeah, I forgot about that. We both do the same kind of extra volunteer job. We've forgotten to mention that, but yeah. We also have something else in common, and that's the focus of this entire tribute series. So I don't want to be the one to. I talk a lot in this series, so I'll let you say whatever you want to say.
I guess also we both lost a sibling quite recently while here in Korea. So.
Yep. Both of us have experienced losing a younger sibling while living overseas. And that's not a great thing to have in common, but... Okay, so I wanted to bring Ryan on here because I don't remember exactly when, in like the months following coming back from my brother's memorial service and just readjusting to life in Korea, as I've said, like I spent a lot of time in my room just like absorbing, consuming video games, like doing a whole lot of nothing, and I was just kind of, that was a couple months, but I met with Ryan. I asked her, like I was having some issues with just how I should be thinking about stuff, and like we'll get into all this stuff, but talking to my family about these things was rough and blah 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 blah, and so I was just like, I need to talk to someone who's been kind of in the same position. So Ryan and I met at a cafe and talked for a while, and that was nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And, yeah. So then I think I've mentioned that briefly before, but I just thought it'd be cool to like actually bring her on here. Yeah. So okay. So for this conversation, this like self-help share-a-thon or whatever it is.
Discussion.
Yeah, discussion. It can be free-form, and you can just straight up like tell things however you want to do it. Or I've written down in this child's notebook that's been abandoned, just like a really basic like set of guidelines for how it could go.
Okay.
What do you prefer?
Either, both.
Okay. Well, alrighty then. Let's see.
I think guidelines would help us start off.
Cool. Introduce Ryan. Okay, done. All right.
Check.
Tell a little about our history and relevant things in common. Check.
Check.
Losing Dongseng while overseas. I wrote Dongseng because I didn't want to write like younger sibling. Okay. Ryan can talk freely and or conversation can follow below topics/questions. Okay. Topics. Immediate reaction plus following weeks/months. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I want to preface this by, nah, I'm not going to, okay, good.
You can preface it.
I was just going to say, in case anyone thinks this is kind of an awkward setup, we've both established that anything we don't want to talk about, we just won't, because this is, that kind of topic. But anyway, yeah, so with that being said, immediate reaction plus following weeks / months.
So, what were my immediate reactions? I think, obviously, like, later I can view, I was definitely going through those, like, 5 stages of grief. But I think the immediate one is denial, and I think that hit more intensely than usual because being overseas, like, I didn't go through everything that my family went through when it happened. I wasn't there, I didn't see anything, I wasn't really physically or emotionally there at that point. And then even after, like, memorial services and coming home back here to Korea, it was like still hard to get over the fact that it actually happened. And so I think going through denial was like the longest and biggest portion of my kind of grieving period afterwards. I tried to go like straight back into normal life, and I think that
I did that too.
Yeah, it's like we had to. We're working. We're like you can't just break down in the middle of a class or something like that. You have to continue and ignore all kind of distractions that way. But like looking back at it now, I definitely went through those stages pretty hard, and even still, like I don't think it ever really ends. It's like people say, oh, like you get over it. You never really get over it. You kind of like move on. So, like when it first happened, I had a lot of weird emotions, like of denial, and then I guess depression, whatever. And then now you still feel things. It's not like you just get over it. You just know how to handle those feelings better, I guess.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, this is to some degree, I meant to say, going to be a compare and contrast type of thing.
I don't mean to compare and contrast, but
no, that's kind of.
I also don't want to be the only one sharing. I guess.
Of course. I mean, like most of I've been just approaching it from like every angle throughout all these videos, but I just thought it'd be interesting to have like 2 side by side, like kind of similar aged people with James. You should tell us about your sister if you don't mind. Like,
okay.
You don't have to go into. Yeah.
I don't. So my younger sister, named Taylor, grew up together. What kind of detail do you want me to go into?
Oh, just whatever you want. Like, just whatever you want. Like, her name was Taylor. I recall, and I didn't know you super well when it happened, but I saw your Facebook post, and you had said that she was the Stitch to your Lilo, or the Lilo to your Stitch?
Kind of both. She was kind of the wild one in our family, so she was like younger, but my sister had a heart condition, so she was always kind of the special child growing up, but she never wanted to be. So she wanted to like kind of own herself, and so she became like kind of rebellious in a way. She wanted to dye her hair blue and like live life to the fullest kind of thing. So she was kind of the weird half to my normal half, but I don't really, it's really hard to say I'm the normal one. I don't know. Yeah. So she's 2 years younger than me, and so we were close, but we grew up with the whole I hate you relationship, fighting all the time. And then when I went to college, we got better, and we ended up being pretty close friends after that. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, that pretty much mirrors, like, Jamison was definitely the difficult child in my family, and I was a little moral policeman as a kid. And also, like, as I've said, Jamison and I fought a ton, and relationship improved when we got older, of course. I mean, it's just pretty standard stuff. It's probably just
basic sibling thing, yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, okay.
No, I'm
like I felt guilty for being so mean to him, even though like I know all siblings do this kind of thing, but when it's what you specifically did, it's just kind of like I can kind of remember like how I felt and like how I intended to hurt him with what I said or whatever, and this is like a few things down the topic list, guilt, but I don't know. As I say, it can be freeformish, but
yeah. Skip down to it later if you want.
Yeah, okay. But okay.
So, but you didn't. You want to compare and contrast? You didn't compare and contrast anything. Of the first few weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be one for one, but no, it's fine. Like.
I don't mean to take over.
No, like I don't want this to be like I'm the shaper and you're just following along. This is a conversation. So yeah, straight up. Although shaper is a cool sounding title, but anyway, it's kind of cold. Okay, my first couple weeks, there was the shock, and then there was like obviously I was really upset, and like I would just like cry and stuff, and like cry while I was showering and that kind of thing. I sometimes wondered if my next door neighbor could hear me. I guess it's not really funny, but it's like, kind of funny to say now.
Let's look back on.
Yeah, I guess. And like I went to, so like I found out, I called my co-teacher Hugh, and I told him, like I found out that night, and I called him that night, and I said, hey, I am going to be late to school tomorrow. I just found out my brother died. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight, and I'm going to be late to school tomorrow. And he said, okay. And anyway, yeah, I went back home, and being with family and stuff was good. It was kind of difficult because they all wanted to talk about Jamison, like obviously, and it's like not reasonable to be put off by that. Like of course they're gonna, we've all suffered this horrible loss all of a sudden, but when so many conversations started kind of circling around to just like, why'd it happen? It's so bad. And a part of me, I started to kind of feel like, yes, I know, and just not want to circle the drain about it, if that makes sense. And that actually, I mean, like I tried not to be short about it, like and I also sometimes did want to talk about him too, because it was also my brother, but it just kind of like angsty, youngish person feelings. I don't know, I'm not really young, but younger than my parents. Losing a child is different from losing a sibling, I guess, in ways that this is something I've had to kind of come to grips with over the year, almost 2 years, like following his death. Is I've had some kind of unpleasant conversations with my mom where I would get really frustrated with how she was personally dealing with it, and I would maybe not be so understanding and not be so nice, and it's not good stuff. We've talked about that, and I've apologized and stuff. But I'm going. This is what I always do. I always go all over the place. Like in the immediate months following his death, I pretty quickly thought Jamison would want us to make the most out of life, especially now because he doesn't have it anymore. And so I like tried to throw myself in. And I even went back to the gym like the very next day, I think. And I did my best to get through a workout. And part of the way through the workout, I just couldn't do it anymore. And it was like an emotional thing. I just couldn't keep doing it. I was just beaten down. And I was with my friend Ben. And I just told him I can't do it. He didn't know. I hadn't told him yet. I hadn't even told him that Jamison had died. I was just like, let's go work out like usual. And so he didn't know. And I was just like, I can't do it anymore. And my voice was kind of cracking when I said it. And he was like, take a breather, sit this one out or something. And then I told him, and he's like, let's get out of here. But yeah, so but the thing is, like, what I decided was to just let myself feel whatever I was feeling. So wanting to go to the gym and try to live life, that was okay because otherwise I would have been forcing myself to stay in and do nothing and like grieve, I guess. But then when I couldn't finish the exercise, that was also okay.
Yeah.
I think it was all just okay.
Any way of grieving is okay.
Yeah. So it's like I tried to go back to the routine, and okay. And then that didn't quite work out, and it's like, all right, no problem, maybe next time. And so I was like, I guess, kind to myself. maybe should have been a little kinder to my family, but... And then I played a lot of video games. I've used a lot of music. There's a game called Nier Automata that was really kind of sad and about loss and existential crisis and stuff, and I've used a lot of music from that in this tribute series here and there. It's really good music. But anyway, yeah, that was kind of my initial reaction. And about the thing about it not feeling real is, like in my last video, I talked about, like, sometimes it really hits me. I think maybe part of me thought I was gonna, by making these videos, I was gonna somehow correct something about this. And I've been doing it for a year now, and past few weeks, month or two, it's sometimes occurred to me like it's like it's settled in more. I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, yeah, no, this really is how things are. Not that I knew he was dead, but now I feel it more that he's dead. If that makes any sense. Yeah.
I think this is pretty cool. Like, I kind of regret not doing anything like this for my sister, like having any sort of, I don't know, like, and I don't know, even like having any sort of like thing to do to remind myself of her or anything like that. So I think this is actually really cool and pretty special. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Everyone deals with stuff differently, and you can always do something like while you're alive. I don't know if you mind share, like, I don't want to your tattoo you got.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't want to.
So yeah, no, that
okay.
Okay,
I don't want to go into it if you don't want to, but
no, yeah.
Okay.
So like, I believe like 2 years later, like the first year, I didn't have anything. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, like. It really hadn't sunken in, I think, like you said. So yeah. The second year, which has now been like 3 years, but the second year I ended up getting a tattoo on my pinky finger. My sister and I always wanted to get a tattoo together, and so I thought that was a really cool idea to finally like do something with her, but more about her. So we were gonna get something like silly, like a cartoon character that we watched together tattooed on ours, and I thought that probably wasn't the best idea for myself. It would have been fun to do with her, but for myself, instead I got a heartbeat like EKG reader on my finger, just tying in with my sister's heart condition, but also on my pinky being a pinky promise to my sister. I would do better and be a better sister and be a better person myself. So.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
I think everyone has their own, I guess, different way of memorializing things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Art project or tattoo, or just like talking a lot about the person, like keep them alive through like just telling their stories, or so this kind of reminded me of actually this is a good time probably to and it's the next thing anyway, how family is dealing plus relationship changes / strain with family, which I've talked a little bit about. You can if you want to. But I was going to say that my mom recently told me she'll sometimes want to bring Jamison up in conversation, not to start like, hey everyone, let's talk about my loss, but just like something someone said, she'll be like, oh, Jamison did that or something, and everyone kind of smiles and gets quiet and then moves on. And it's like she thinks they probably don't know, it's like they've just caught the hot potato and they don't know what to do with it, but all she wants to do is just not refrain from talking about her son if it's relevant. She just, doesn't want to forget him and just banish him to the we don't talk about it closet or whatever. But
yeah.
But other people who haven't experienced this don't quite know how to navigate it.
Definitely.
And I will say that I've seen my mom's Facebook wall, and like even almost 2 years later, she still gets a ton of support. I think the older people get, like a lot of her Facebook friends are middle-aged or into their 50s and 60s, and like they're all really supportive and encouraging all the time. And I think it's like once you've had a family and you have kids, even if it hasn't happened to you, you know how terrifying just the thought of losing a child is. And so they've been, I think younger people might have a harder time knowing how to navigate that kind of situation when it comes up. But
and I think also just being like that online is kind of like there can be either more personality put into something or more personal affection or less personal affection depending on how the person responds. I think for me personally, like my family, after it happened, my family, my mother and grandmother would constantly like message me and ask me to like come home, not in a way of like, hey, come home now, but more of like, we wish you were here, we want you to be with you, which is completely understandable. But at the same time, I felt like my life would be over if I left Korea. Like I would get stuck in that place with my family, kind of like grieving it, or it would be too real to go home. And so I ended up having to like talk with my family and be like, hey, please stop asking me to come home. And then 6 months later, my grandmother passed, and I told my family I couldn't come home because at that point it would be like home was a place I go when people die, and I didn't want that to be what home was. So definitely dealt with that. And then about a year later, I did go home for vacation, and I was not ready for the way my family would talk about my sister so openly. And I, having kind of been in that denial and stuck in like a whole different world where she wasn't brought up constantly, having that step into the world where she was, and just so casually, I was not prepared and not ready. And I think I ended up saying something to my parents later, but I would never be able to kind of confront my grandparents on the fact that I was uncomfortable with the ease of their conversation, which sounds silly now because now I'm here talking about it on camera for the internet.
I don't think it sounds silly. It makes sense. They had a good year and a half-ish, 2 years, some practice on you. Like, I think it makes perfect sense. Yeah, not wanting to go back to a place that you associate with losing people, which isn't what you want your home to become.
Definitely.
Do you think we are emotionally stunted millennials? Like, or is it just that we've been overseas? Or is it just that everyone's different?
I think everyone's different, but also like I said, we weren't there to experience everything they experienced. They experienced people coming up to them in the grocery store being like, hey, how are Jordan and Jamison? So it's like, or hey, how are Riane and Taylor? Like they have to confront that every day and tell new people and talk about it, whereas we kind of had to put it on hold for our lives here. Not that we had to, but that was our choice to come back and continue living in Korea. So I think they had a good year on us to process it, where we did not. Yeah,
where they're like forced to process it even when they're not expecting to. I could kind of put it aside when I go to work and when I was teaching, and then maybe in between classes it would come to me and it'd be there for like 40 minutes or whatever, and then I teach another class. Then when I go home I think about it again more intensely, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. I was just gonna say something, I forgot what it was. Sorry. Nah, it's fine.
Do you think this has brought you closer to your family or farther away?
The videos? Making the videos? Or you mean just losing Jamison?
All of it? Any of the process?
Probably losing Jamison has probably brought us all closer together, which is an awful reason, obviously an awful reason for that to happen, but it is still, you know, it's a good thing that we're closer. Might as well be. It's all like in every sense of the word closer. Like I've I've had more bitter arguments with my mom than I think I've ever had or had in years and years. But also come to understand her better, like really understand her. And also to understand that as much as I feel like I have claim to like this kind of grief and my opinion on it because he was my brother, and I would get insulted and like mad when she would say, he's not your son. Because she's not trying to stamp out the validity of my sadness or my grief. She's just rightly pointing out that it is a different thing. I didn't have a dog in the fight. Is that a good? I wasn't raising him, and I wasn't responsible for his development. And that's a different kind of feeling when it's
different grief.
Yeah. And they're all valid, and of course all that stuff. But it was, me and my family had to kind of, just kind of had to fight each other a little bit. And it wasn't always like that. There's been good talks too. And the making the videos my mom watches all of them, and my dad has watched a few, but not many because. And I do think this is legitimate. Like, he just can't hardly handle it. Like, even when I'm Skyping with him and stuff, he can hardly bring up Jamison. He will, but it completely changes the tone, and he loses his composure every time. So if he doesn't want to subject himself to a good hour and a half of that every week or so, I get it. I would like for him to someday, but I get it. Everyone is at a different place. Me spending so much time editing and stuff, it's a lot. When my dad tries to text me sometimes, he'll be like, "Hey Jordan, how's my son doing?" And I'll be like editing videos, and then I don't say much else. And I'm not trying to be short, like I am actually busy trying to crank something out. But yeah, that's actually a good question. I don't know that I would have thought of, or I guess it's kind of under the umbrella of change in relationships, but how about you?
It's definitely, I think, brought my family closer. I think it's brought, we did have like arguments in ways, but I think I became kind of trying to please my family more so now, because it's kind of like I now have to take up two roles. I felt like, so I think there was a bit of pressure for a while that I had to do, like I had to be both, and my mom just a little bit kind of did put that on me. So the amount of like, because my sister was living in the States, she could talk to my sister a lot more. So then she began to talk to me a lot more and kind of trying to fill that role. But I kind of took that and was like, okay, I have to do this because I would hate for anything else. So I don't want to kind of push against that. I do want to try my best, but I think after a while she realized like I couldn't be two people, and that I am my own person, and that even though this happened, I wouldn't be able to immediately run home and stay with her and be kind of like under her umbrella or safe in that way, and that I would end up eventually like staying in Korea or moving away or living my own life, kind of. So.
And so she's been like supportive of that.
As much as she can, I guess. As a mother, I think she still has the. Growing up, specifically like where we grew up in the South, there was the kind of like, you stay with your family and family's the most important. So people, her friends specifically, their daughters move right down the street and start a family and get married, and so I haven't fit that role. And so it's kind of, she's had to also come to the realization like I won't fit that role. And so yeah, even though there's still days, there's still moments, and that's, I think, with any mother and daughter and mother and child, there's always going to be that kind of, I'm my own person.
Life turning out differently than the way parents envisioned, and maybe the way you envisioned, and
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, being your own person. I keep queuing up observations in my brain and then forgetting them. It's completely fine. It's just It's just a shame when it's just like, oh, this would have been cool to include. Like this happens in conversations all the time.
Yeah.
It's just now it's on camera, but
maybe it'll come up again.
Yeah. So okay, but yeah, so she was she's understanding of you being in Korea and wanting to do your own thing,
and even still, like you said, I'm leaving Korea.
Yeah.
I'm not moving back home.
Right.
And so she's
Pretty
also
far away.
had to kind of realize, like, oh, even though I'm coming back, I'm still not back.
You'll be in much closer time zones, though.
Yeah, that's
and
nice.
It'll be a lot easier, cheaper, and quicker to visit and all that stuff.
And a lot more convenient to call and all that. So,
Yeah.
Which will be nice.
I don't know what I'm gonna do in the future. It's topic for another. That's not even relevant to this. I gotta figure my stuff. I'm turning 33 this year. All right. I mean, Korea's cool, but
Korea's cool, yeah.
been pretty happy here for the most part. How families dealing, relationship changes. Okay, so with the relationship changes, this might not even be like a thing, but also like friendships. Yeah.
It's definitely brought my friendships a lot closer.
Okay.
So, you talked about the main shock when it first happened. So, when it first happened, I was teaching winter camp at my school, and we did half days. And it was the last day of camp, and it was right before I was supposed to go on vacation. And I get a bunch of texts from my mom, and I kind of ignore them because I'm teaching. And then I get a bunch of texts from my head teacher who's not there. So I taught camp all alone, and so she texted me and was like, you should stop camp. Like, call mom. And I was kind of like, I didn't get those because I was like, oh, someone's messaging me. I'm going to ignore it. I'm teaching. So when I was packing up, I started reading the messages and I was like, okay, this is more concerning. And before I even left school, I texted my mom. I was like, hey, can I call you? What's going on? My mom asked, are you with Liz? And Liz is my best friend here in Korea. And I was like, no, I'm at school. And so I called my mom immediately. And I remember it was snowing and I had my hood up and I had my headphones in and she had told me. And I was in shock, and I still had students around saying goodbye. And she had already told my friend Liz what had happened because she wanted Liz to be there for when I heard, to kind of comfort me. So my mom said, Liz is at KNU, she's at Jenny's office, go see her. So I immediately got in a taxi and I came straight here, and I just, like, Jenny and Terry weren't in the office, but I just like hugged Liz and I just cried for a while. And so it was really meaningful to have someone there just to like get it all out to. So I think you at the beginning kind of like built it up and tried to go on with your day, go to work, go to the gym.
It was at night that I found out. My dad actually asked me, like, are you alone, before he told me. And then he told me, like, is there someone you can be with? He's like, I was with Nina at the time, and he was like, I was dating Nina at the time, and he was like, go be with your girlfriend. So it was the next day that I went to the gym, I think. But but yeah, it was similar. I had someone, and yeah, that's I didn't know that Liz knew first, and that's kind of. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Liz.
If you're watching, this speaks to, I think, your guys' friendship, that your mom knew to get in touch with her and make sure that she was in position to help you. That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I feel really bad for Liz because she is a more emotional person than I am. So I think hearing first probably put her in a kind of emotional distress that she was not ready for.
Yeah.
Which I apologize, and but I am very grateful that she was there to help with my emotional distress at that time. And then luckily another friend came in as I was still processing it, trying to cancel my ticket on my vacation and actually get straight home. So it kind of it brought a lot of my friends together. I never really had a really close-knit group of friends, so after all this happened, like, I was packing and all of my friends were in my apartment just being there for me. Yeah, and so I was extremely grateful for all of them, and it was kind of nice to have, it kind of like built my family away from home.
Kind of the OG Coffee Mission crew.
Yeah,
we're talking
it
about.
really
Okay.
was. It was. If I don't know if you watch it, but hi Liz and Amos and Addison and Steph.
Good.
Yeah.
When this is kind of it's relevant to the overall topic, but like one of the first times, so we didn't really know each other that well. And then like at CFLEC, it was shortly after we did CFLEC at the same time, I like was gonna start tutoring with you guys, with your Korean tutor.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the first times we'd like talked very much, and you would somehow like your sister and what had happened came up. At this point, Jamison was still alive, but I don't know if you knew at the time, but I like when you were telling me that story and like just telling me some of the stuff. Even though like Jamison hadn't died, that was like emotionally wrecking me just hearing that because I like, well, I've said before that I used to be afraid that I would get a phone call, like even before he died, when he was really into drugs, I was afraid that I would get a phone call that said like your brother's dead. And like, I mean that, like I lived every day thinking it might happen. And so, yeah, when you told me that story, like, I don't think I emote very much on my face a lot, but that was extremely intense to listen to. You were a Coffee Mission, I don't know if you remember.
I don't remember. I think
Okay.
it's a hard and awkward topic to bring up.
Yeah.
So, but
I was like having to like muscle force my face to like not tremble and stuff, you know, like.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I feel like that is a concern I have with the new relationships. Like even like people asking, oh, do you have a sibling?
Yes.
Or, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, like or like dating, they're like, oh, blah blah blah, and it's just like then you have to you either choose to be like, yes, this happened, and so you disclose this information that I don't really want to disclose because I don't want that effect. I don't want someone to feel bad or dampen the mood or whatever, but I also want to be honest and truthful about my situation, so
yeah,
it's a hard line to
I've often thought I don't know how, there's like a few different ways to answer that question and I don't know which one I should do. Like when talking to the new teachers during orientation about the clause in the contract about how many days we get off if someone happens to die. I've since I've been coordinator, I've just told every group like, actually my brother died and this is what happened, and I've just been kind of point blank about it just because it's relevant and like might as well hear it firsthand from someone who knows exactly. But otherwise, outside of that context, like if it happens to come up, I'm just like, or if it happens to come up that I make videos or something and they're like, oh, what are your videos about? And then I have to say like, but like you don't want. I always have this slight fear that people are going to think I was angling for that from the beginning, like I was hoping the conversation would go down that road.
I don't think anyone would think that.
Okay, all right, yeah.
That's not something normally a lot of people want to talk about.
That I like want to broadcast. Well, I'm literally broadcasting this, but you know, like as I've said in other videos, I don't want to make it the thing about me. Like, nice to meet you. I'm Jordan. I'm the guy whose brother died.
Yeah.
That's my identifier.
Yeah.
I'm not like I mean, I'll talk about it, but yeah, I just don't want it to be like the thing.
You don't want it to be your defining factor.
Yeah, my defining factor. Yeah, I'm happy you brought that up. But like, how do you go about it when someone asks or?
Yeah, that is.
Happens to come up.
And I mean, with different people, I usually just say, no, I'm an only child with my students.
Oh, okay.
So I'll introduce myself to my student, my first year students, first year of middle school. They'll be like, oh, teacher, do you have any brothers and sisters? And so I say, no. I'm an only child. Like, you can't announce that to 35 students, 35 teenagers. Like, that's a whole different thing. So I guess depending on the relationship, then I do just how much I disclose. And I think we like knew each other and we were pretty close, so why not?
Yeah. I tell my students, well, like,
you do?
Like when I went home for the memorial, like they were asking Hugh, like, why isn't Jordan here? And I told Hugh ahead of time, like, if they ask, you can just tell them. You can tell them everything. I don't care. Like, I mean, drugs aren't really a thing in Korea, but why not give those kids an example of, like, I know a guy it happened to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so just in case things change in the future here in this country or whatever, like, they will maybe be that bit more inclined to stay away from them. So, and like drugs are like pretty taboo here, so I think like the wrong person might just associate me like, or be like, his brother was into drugs, so like, you know. But I say might, but I have not encountered that at all from anybody. Everyone's been really nice. But yeah, no, I told Hugh he could tell him. And then like in my intro PowerPoint where I just talk about me and my family, I just modified the part about my brother to, I didn't say how he died, but I just said like, he died, but he was my brother, and he liked like doing hip hop music, and he liked art, and I show some of his pictures, and that's pretty much it. I want the kids to kind of know like where I'm coming from, but I don't like linger. I don't make it like, here's the presentation about my brother. It's just like part of the presentation about me. Yeah. And then I move on to like my cat, and now my cat's dead. Ozzy, she died like 2 months ago. Yeah, but and then I just move on to like stuff I like and blah blah blah. So I don't think it's like a downer. It's just kind of a real moment for a minute. But,
yeah. I also feel like I don't feel comfortable telling my students.
Both of these things I think are totally valid. Both approaches when you're teaching or just whatever you want to do. Like, it's just an interesting thing is two different ways people do this. Two English teachers. It's getting pretty cold.
Yeah, you're only in a sweater. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay. Next part is dealing with it, and I put in quotations because we've talked about before. Like people always talk about like how you haven't dealt with it yet, or you need to deal with it or whatever. And like, how do you even do that? Like, it's not like TurboTax or whatever. Like,
you don't click some buttons and.
Or you don't like jump on the dealing with it like stationary bicycle and just ride long enough and like, okay, I've dealt with it. Like what does that even mean? I'm not trying to be aggressive, like, or anyone who says that is like bad or whatever. I just don't know what it means. Like
that's not how it works.
Just you keep living and it kind of just settles in on its own, I think.
Yeah.
But I put in parentheses art, prayer, counseling. So just a few different things, like dealing with it, art, prayer, counseling, so.
So I think I didn't really know how to deal with it, and I was going through a bit of a depression, and I remember being like, I probably should talk to somebody, and it was probably a year later when I finally kind of surpassed the initial shock and like initial denial, and it was kind of in the fact that it was still lingering. I was concerned, and I was like, oh, maybe I should seek some counseling or talk to somebody about it, and because my mom had also gone to therapy, so I was thinking like, how do I go to therapy here in Korea especially, which is extremely difficult. So I got in touch with like an online service, and I thought I would use that, but I couldn't bring myself to do it, which I feel like I regret now, and I wish I had done it sooner and talked to somebody more about it. So I think me dealing with it, I tried to avoid it.
Okay. I hope not. I'll just keep watch over it.
Okay. But I don't think like you don't deal with it. Like I like, even if you do go to counseling, even if you do art or some sort of other like thing to pour your passion into, it's never gone away. Like, I think one of my big things is when my sister passed, I would have very vivid dreams of my sister, and they were always dreams where she was alive and like I remember her. So having those dreams hurt way worse, because not only do you wake up and be like, oh, that was a dream, but you also have to wake up and be like, oh, that's a dream and she's not here anymore. So that hurt and happened for a very long time, and so I had a lot of anxiety, especially around sleep and going to sleep and staying asleep and dreaming. And I tried a couple of different things hoping that it would help, and it really hasn't. So it's just kind of, now I have them, and now I know how to respond to them better, but it's not like they go away. It's not like my feeling is lessened about them, but I just know how to kind of hopefully like decrease them and handle them better. But
how do you, I'm really glad, I was actually, dreams is on my list. I'm glad you brought that up, but like, so how do you do that? Like, how do you decrease them or handle them better?
So first I started in my apartment, I have a lot of photos of her. The only real photos of my family I have are of her, and they were all at eye level, and so I would see them constantly.
Okay.
And so I think one of those reasons was I was even subconsciously always seeing that. And so I decided, okay, I would shift where the pictures were in my house, which helped a little bit, but I also ended up taking some sleep medication, like melatonin and things like that, and then I got a weighted blanket to help with some sort of anxiety, sleeping, which has helped, and I've learned that I need to get a full night's sleep, that kind of thing. But so I've just kind of like adjusted how my sleeping process goes, and I'm kind of, even like right before sleep, instead of like people do like social media, like I would, and still do, go through like a list of things I have to do, which kind of just even like lengthened the anxiety and kind of strengthened me like being nervous and anxious about things that I had to do that I haven't gotten done. And so sleeping, I guess just all that nervousness kind of just bundled into anxious dreams and things. But I still haven't really like figured out the key to make them go away, but I just kind of keep going.
Yeah, as far as dealing with it, I think that really just means you keep, they say you don't get over it, you get through it.
Yeah.
You just keep living.
And I mean, yeah, there are always going to be instances where things pop up that remind me of her, or to go see a movie, didn't know what the movie was about, turned out it was about losing a younger sister, Little Women, and I broke down. So I just broke down in the theater, broke down afterwards. It was kind of like the first like big major like shock, that, because normally you think about things and you're like, okay, but that was just, I was blindsided by it and didn't realize I would have such a strong reaction still. But I don't think that lessens the fact that I've gone through it or anything.
Yeah, no, I don't think so at all.
But I normally prepare myself for those things. Like I prepare myself when I do something that we did together, or I know how to process that. But when you're blindsided with something, it still hits pretty hard.
It's like a tint over all of those things that have some connection to the person you lost. You're never gonna not think about it then when you're doing those things, I guess.
Yeah, it reminds me of like, you know, in like old school cartoons, the drawn cartoons, where you can see like something is the background and you know something's going to be interacted with because it is some sort of different shade or different
like more
outline.
Detailed
it's more
or whatever.
detailed.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how I picture like those little things. Like they're a little bit more outlined. It's not like, it doesn't have like a big logo like, oh, this is something you and your sister used to do, but it's also kind of just like this like kind of like clouded memory of like, this is something you did.
That is an awesome metaphor. dreams,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I was just trying to navigate myself to what I was when I dream of Jamison, he's like always around like 12 or 13. I had a weird dream where I wrote it down, so I need to go look at it again. But the gist of it was he was back alive, and we were all like super thrilled and just amazed and like, wow, how could this be? Like, this is a miracle. And but then he started doing drugs again, and so I was like really furious at him, and I wanted to beat him up. And then in, dreams, suddenly you're in a different place and you're doing a different thing. It just makes sense because it's the dream. And we were like in a volcano. There was like a winding rock path, like video game-ish, up into like the center where there was this like Coliseum area in the volcano above the lava. And Jamison was there, and I was like gearing up to fight Jamison because I was so mad at him. And when he came out, he had crutches and he was all like messed up. He'd like broken something, and like my heart swelled up with just like love and pity for him. And so I helped him walk into the arena. And then like I thought, I'm thankful that he's like all messed up because as soon as the fight starts, I'll knock him out and then I can just take him and bring him to safety. And as soon as the fight's like the bell clang or whatever, he fell backwards into the lava. And I like freaked out and I jumped into the lava after him. And like it was hot, but it didn't like kill me. And so I was like trying to get him out and like find him, and I couldn't even find him because he was under. And I pulled out this charred black thing that was maybe the right size, that might have been him, but it didn't look like it was necessarily a person. And I thought, this is Jamison, and then my dream ended. That's like the worst dream I've had about him. But otherwise it's just kind of random stuff where he happens to be there and he's 12. And but it hasn't been such a big thing for me that I've had to try to take any kinds of steps to, like, I didn't have any anxiety over sleep. You seem to have a harder time with that.
Yeah, but my dreams never were
that vivid. Or?
That not vivid, but like that. Like you kind of related it to. Like my dreams are always never really about real life. Something that people are there, but what we're doing is never real life. I never relate anything to real life. So just seeing my sister and like not being able to interact with her the way I want to interact with her is just it was just kind of like, it's devastating. And like I think just the consistency and like constantly having these dreams is just something that's set with me, and it's just bothered me. So but yeah,
it sounds but it's kind of better now, or
it's gotten better than original, but 1 or 2 days, I mean, it'll pop up, and I just like I realized it was a dream, and I realized I can't do anything about it, and
and that's the kind of thing where like we can't put any kind, we can't, a lot of these things, it's like you feel naturally inclined to want to put some kind of happy little ribbon on the end of that thought, like, but at least I'm getting better, but in this case it's just like, this is what it is, and there you go, like
this is my life now. Like I'll probably continue to have dreams about her, and that's gonna be something that I just have to handle, not get over. Handle though.
Dealing with it, art, prayer, counseling, change in outlook on life, faith/religion, philosophy, lifestyle, how to spend time or how you're spending time, relationships with other people. Oh, okay. All right. If you want. You don't have to. Philosophy, lifestyle, whatever.
I think faith and religion was kind of like my faith and religion had kind of like faded a lot, not just because of my sister passing, but definitely a lot of things before that as well. So already I was kind of questioning things, and then after my sister passed, I have not given up, but I definitely had more doubts, and I think that's the opposite. Like, I guess it is like the two sides of the coin that people fall into when things like this happen. Like, you either dive into religion or you kind of drop it completely, and I think I am the latter of dropping it completely. But I don't really know exactly. I haven't really thought about it that much. I don't find myself as a spiritual person. I don't go to prayer when I'm that kind of. That's not something. That's not how I cope with something.
Right,
and that's
right.
not what I like run to or look to. So that's kind of been my personal experience with it.
Yeah, that's all I need. Like, we don't, because I don't expect you to have a definite, like, I have figured this all out or anything like that.
I know the meaning of life.
Yeah. Because this happened to me, I got it all. So, yeah, and I think it's a pretty natural thing. My mom said that, I hope she's okay, I'll ask her before I include this bit, but like, one of the first things she said when I was back home or something, she said she just felt like, of course, devastated, but she said she felt angry, kind of angry at him for having just allowed that to happen in his life. Like, that's not the only thing she feels for her son, of course, but, you know, it makes sense. And she also said, like, angry at God, which this is, my thing has always been, like, if you know there's a lot of horrible stuff going on all the time and people die senselessly all the time, but your faith is unshaken until it happens to you personally, when it's always been something that happens. Like, why is it when it happens to us that it suddenly moves the believe or not believe switch, if that makes sense, or just the being angry at him. But it's just a natural emotional response. Like, people are people. For so much of my life, starting around 15, I was just like full-blown like angry atheist. And I thought religious people were stupid, like, straight up. And some of them are, but people are stupid. Like, there's stupid atheists, there's et cetera, it's blah, blah, blah. This is getting spicy, but that was a lot of my life. And then after a certain point, I became a little bit less, like, disdainful and caustic and opinionated about it. And I also think I truly became more open-minded, because at the time I thought I was being open-minded by seeing outside the box of my immediate surroundings and family and just people in my community. I thought I was being open. Maybe at that point I was. Like, we're all kind of in different places, and so it can take different degrees of how do I say this? If you're surrounded by atheists and you're the only Christian because you see how maybe it could be, that's open-minded, I think. And if you're surrounded by religious people and you don't believe, it's also open-minded, I guess. So.
I mean, one of the big things about religion is questioning, and I think a lot of people go through those processes, whether like it's anger or disbelief or some sort of shaking of reality. I mean, that's what religion is, not something that is comprehended easily. So to be open-minded as an atheist is completely understandable, I think.
Yeah. Just there's good. I've kind of had to. It's probably taken me way too long in my life to learn to just maybe not be mean about stuff. I'm just critical, but I have come around more like in the past several years to finding a lot of things to like and appreciate about religion and community, and just some of the stuff that goes hand in hand. When obviously there's like bad elements of it as well, but in regards to like loss and Jamison and stuff specifically, I'm not going to be like, now because gosh darn it, I really want to see my brother again, suddenly I believe, because that's not how belief works. That's want. That's not the same thing as like thinking it is the case. But it's been a comfortable thing to like lean pretty heavily into I don't know, because then it's like maybe. If that makes sense?
Definitely, yeah. I think that's
Yeah. So I would love for there to just be like a land of perfection at the end, where we don't have to worry about the time we spend, like, is this the last time I'm ever going to see Ryan or whatever? Like a land of nothing having stakes, no one can get sick, all that stuff, and I can see my brother again. Everyone we've ever loved is there, I guess, as we remember them, which... That's also kind of like, how old's my grandmother going to be? Is she going to be my grandmother? Because my dad's probably going to want to remember him at a different age. Her. You know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, it's all relative.
There's a lot of stuff that is just like, I don't know how this works, but Believe it or not, I don't know for certain whether or not God is real as a result of all this stuff happening in my life. But yeah, I've certainly, like, I pray now. I don't think I've ever said this on camera, but like, because I still like, I think anyone with a pulse has questions. Like anyone who has like ever thought, even if they're not honest about it, I think everyone has questions. But I'm skeptical, but not closed off. And like, sometimes I pray, and I always like, I don't like, if there is a God and He knows your heart, then He knows if you're BSing Him. So I'll always say to Him like, I don't even know if I believe in you. And then I'll say, I know you know that, because if you're there, then you know me. So I don't even have to say this, but I don't want to seem dishonest, so I'm saying it. And I know you know that whole thought process I just shared with you, but I just don't know what to do. I don't get this praying thing really, so I'm just giving it to you. So there you go, I'm doing my best. And like I've like literally prayed that way before. I mean, not in like a combative kind of way, but so yeah, I do that sometimes. Like, and I guess the takeaway here, just to wrap this up, is for me is that I have, it's like I said earlier, I've taken more comfort in the fact that I don't know. Used to be it's just kind of I don't know, but now it's like I don't know, so maybe I don't know. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone has some sort of like feeling of some sort of higher power or something, and so I'm definitely on the scale of like maybe, but I'm not sure, and I don't want to be wrong, nor do I want to be right in ways. So like I think I'm just in like a weird gray area, and I don't think it's a complete result of what's happened with my sister, but I think it's definitely been an additive of what's happened, that kind of thing. So.
Oh yeah, that certainly factors in.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of painful stuff in life that, like, it kind of makes you want there to be all this stuff, but it also kind of makes you think, how could there be? Because there's so much horrible, you know. That's a whole other topic, I guess. But
Pause, Jordan, editing this. Do you want to go inside? Do you want to like jump to like Faith Hall? Because you seem really cold.
It's not horrible, but our lighting is kind of suffering. I don't know how this is going to turn out. We could. I think Faith Hall would be appropriate, actually, just like thematically, because we're like Kate. I don't want to say the name of the program, but like I don't know, but because we're.
I said KNU.
Oh, okay, whatever. That's fine.
Jenny's office.
Oh, okay. I don't think it matters.
Okay.
BRB.